in the end, I was required to apologize for disbelieving Meghan Markle, who I don't believe. And I would say to Meghan Markle, look, sit down with me, with your husband, for an equally long interview to the one you gave Oprah Winfrey.
And you're not going to tell me who had the conversation?
I think that would be very damaging to them.
Okay.
Compartmentalized
they were
conversations.
concerned that if he were too brown, that would be a problem. Are you saying that?
This wasn't shade. This was exposure. Piers Morgan voiced what executives, royal insiders, and gossip circles have been muttering for years.
Why do you keep your royal titles? Why do you keep calling yourselves the Duke and Duchess of Sussex? Why? Why would you do that if it's not just to make millions and millions of dollars and playing
The entertainment world is still reeling after Piers Morgan dropped what insiders are calling the most devastating takedown of Meghan Markle's career ambitions in recent memory. Morgan didn't just throw shade at the Duchess of Sussex. He obliterated her entire public persona in front of the world. Sources close to Meghan report that she was pacing her sprawling Montecito mansion like a caged lioness, her jaw tight and her temper simmering as the reality of public humiliation set in.
That they had deserted. The most incendiary claim was that members of the royal family had raised, quote, concerns in multiple conversations about what skin colour baby Archie's skin would be.
Piers Morgan didn't just stop at mocking Meghan's Netflix ambitions. He resurrected her most infamous claims from the Oprah interview and tore them to shreds. Sources confirm that his segment on the alleged secret garden wedding performed by the Archbishop of Canterbury sent shockwaves through both Hollywood and royal circles.
as you do it is frankly nauseating.
I mean, if overwhelmingly the palace is popular in the UK and Meghan is not popular, it's reported that she made a phone call to your boss at ITV. What did she say to your boss as it related to you?
According to Morgan, such a ceremony would have been illegal, an absolute fabrication. And he didn't hold back in highlighting the absurdity. Yeah, old Princess Pinocchio is off on a good one here, he declared, using a nickname that palace insiders now reportedly whisper in private corridors, barely stifling laughter. The audience in the studio reportedly gasped, as if collectively realizing they were witnessing the public dismantling of a royal narrative.
And conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What?
Morgan meticulously questioned the credibility of Meghan's entire Oprah story, framing it as a deliberate attempt to manipulate public perception. He dissected claims about mental health struggles, racism allegations, and supposed financial kudo-offs, arguing that these revelations were less confessions and more calculated attacks on the monarchy. Sources close to Meghan claim she reportedly called multiple aides in a frenzy after the broadcast, demanding damage control strategies and explanations for how such a devastating segment could have aired.
After contacting my boss at ITV, I didn't find that out till I left. It was certainly a very interesting revelation.
The fallout doesn't end with public humiliation. Morgan's interview has reportedly thrown Meghan's inner circle into a tailspin, forcing advisors and PR experts to scramble. Industry insiders suggest that this public challenge to her credibility could have ripple effects on her Hollywood ambitions, potentially making studios hesitant to associate with someone now widely perceived as deceptive or manipulative. Meghan's careful control of her narrative, painstakingly built over the years, suddenly looks fragile, vulnerable to scrutiny that reaches far beyond tabloids.
Your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
Hold up.
There are several conversations.
Royal commentators are calling this a pivotal moment. A woman who once believed she could dominate Hollywood and the monarchy simultaneously now faces a reality check delivered by one of Britain's most influential media personalities. The nickname Princess Pinocchio isn't just mockery. It symbolizes the widening gap between Meghan's self-fashioned image and the public perception that Morgan has so mercilessly amplified. The private meltdown reportedly continues, with sources claiming Meghan is pacing, venting, and desperately trying to regain the upper hand as her previously untouchable persona begins to crack.
Since you left the show, were you disappointed that not enough people reached out
Just as Meghan Markle attempted to stage her cinematic comeback with Netflix's close personal friends, Hollywood insiders reportedly delivered a collective shrug. Sources describe executives quietly labeling the project a vanity venture, with skepticism running rampant about Meghan's talent and professionalism. Morgan's blistering interview only amplified these concerns, painting her as a figure whose charm and influence have dramatically waned. One insider reportedly called the project less a comeback and more a spectacle of self-indulgence, hinting that Meghan's carefully cultivated reputation as a credible actress is under siege.
With Harry.
About how dark your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
Ooh.
The Netflix venture was supposed to signal Meghan's transformation from royal outsider to Hollywood force, but according to sources, the project risks being her most conspicuous failure yet. Executives allegedly expressed concern that her presence overshadows the creative work itself, turning what should be a professional collaboration into a personal PR exercise.
Privately from a lot of people, a lot of support publicly from well-known people, most notably Sharon Osbourne. But look at what happened to Sharon on the talk.
The perception that Meghan believes she is smarter than everyone in the room, combined with Harry's reported immaturity, has reportedly made studios wary of even minor involvement with the Sussex brand. In entertainment circles, the couple is being whispered about as toxic or high risk, signaling that professional doors may be quietly closing.
She didn't agree with everything I was saying. She was then targeted by Cheryl Underwood on the talk, and she was accused of supporting someone who had said racist things.
The Netflix project comes at the worst possible time. Morgan's scathing remarks combined with industry chatter have allegedly created a perfect storm of doubt. What was meant to be a triumphant return is instead being dissected as a display of entitlement and misjudgment. Sources suggest that Meghan's previous successes, guest appearances on TV shows, magazine features, and brand endorsements no longer carry the same weight, leaving her with a precarious standing in an unforgiving industry.
To disbelieve Meghan Markle. I don't give a damn about her skin colour. I do care about the veracity of what she was saying. And I think that Cheryl Underwood...
Even social media sentiment is reportedly turning. Analysts note that once loyal fans are increasingly mocking her attempts at reinvention, with phrases like Princess Pinocchio returns trending quietly among certain online circles. The message from Hollywood and the public alike is clear. Meghan Markle's post-royal career is facing unprecedented scrutiny, and her carefully curated image may not survive this scrutiny unscathed.
Of racism.
I read a report that said there were 57,000 complaints against you at Good Morning Britain. Do you have any idea of how many were in support of you?
All I can say is there were 7,000 complaints against me, which was driven by an online...
Hollywood insiders have reportedly grown increasingly vocal about their disdain for the Sussex brand. Sources claim the couple's once glamorous aura has shifted dramatically from aspirational outsiders to figures that are now considered toxic, difficult, and exhausting to work with. Meghan reportedly alienates key executives with her controlling demeanor and air of superiority, while Harry allegedly compounds the issue with childish antics, such as requesting hot chocolate during multi-million-dollar meetings, behavior that has apparently become legendary behind closed doors.
Issuing death threats to them.
Your wife, as the mother bear of the children, was she, did she support you 100%, or did she say, Piers, don't put us in this line?
The perception is that Meghan believes her royal background entitles her to deference in professional settings, while Harry relies on his title as a shield against accountability. The combination, insiders say, is disastrous. Studio executives and talent agents are reportedly advising clients to avoid Sussex-related projects entirely, fearful that association could damage reputations. The couple's approach, which they may see as strategic, is instead being interpreted as arrogance and professional incompetence.
Online abuse, but the idea that my sons had to be targeted by so-called liberals in a way that was threatening.
Morgan's interview has only cemented these perceptions, bringing long-simmering concerns into the spotlight. Industry whispers that were once subtle have transformed into widely discussed critiques. Meghan is seen as dismissive of advice, overly controlling, and incapable of authentic collaboration. Meanwhile, Harry's reported lack of seriousness during professional meetings reinforces the idea that working with the couple is an exercise in frustration rather than opportunity.
Death threats and so on. It's completely disgusting.
Have you heard from anyone in the palace thanking you for the, serious defense?
Even public perception is reportedly turning against them. Fans who once admired Meghan's poise and charm are now scrutinizing every move, amplifying the narrative that the Sussex brand has lost its luster. Royal insiders suggest that the nickname Princess Pinocchio may soon extend to Hollywood circles, encapsulating a reputation for embellishment and manipulation. For a woman who once seemed unstoppable, the combination of Piers Morgan's takedown, Hollywood skepticism, and social media mockery represents a dramatic and potentially careering shift.
I've had some messages.
Even leisure events have reportedly become public PR nightmares for the Sussexes, as evidenced by Meghan and Harry's infamous Los Angeles Dodgers appearance. Sources describe Meghan bouncing around the luxury suite like a performer auditioning for attention, while Harry allegedly sat frozen, visibly disengaged, and completely disconnected from the event. Body language experts reportedly analyzed the footage and concluded that Meghan's behavior was over the top, calculated, and desperately performative. Meanwhile, Harry's stoicism, or perhaps complete exhaustion, highlighted a couple completely out of sync with one another.
For several members of the royal family,
Upper level
we're very
people?
grateful that. Well, I'm not going to go into who it was, but what I would say is gratitude that somebody was standing up for them.
Taking stock, is there something you would have done differently? Anything you regret?
The public reaction was immediate and scathing. Social media exploded with mockery, labeling Meghan's antics as theatrical and inauthentic and highlighting the stark contrast between her forced enthusiasm and Harry's apparent misery. The incident reportedly became fodder in both Hollywood and royal circles, demonstrating that even casual appearances could spiral into crises when Meghan and Harry are involved. Sources suggest that Meghan's need for attention and validation has reached new heights, resulting in behavior that alienates both fans and insiders.
Middle of the show in the way that I did, I don't think Americans realized it was only for a few minutes, and I went back in and did 2 more hours of the show. And in fact, I'm sorry, I'm not a racist.
The public reaction was immediate and scathing. Social media exploded with mockery, labeling Meghan's antics as theatrical and inauthentic and highlighting the stark contrast between her forced enthusiasm and Harry's apparent misery. The incident reportedly became fodder in both Hollywood and royal circles, demonstrating that even casual appearances could spiral into crises when Meghan and Harry are involved. Sources suggest that Meghan's need for attention and validation has reached new heights, resulting in behavior that alienates both fans and insiders.
Okay.
Compartmentalized
Because they were concerned
conversations.
that if he were too brown.
The Dodgers incident shows how even mundane events have the potential to spiral into headline-grabbing catastrophes, reinforcing the narrative that Meghan Markle's public image is increasingly precarious. For a couple once celebrated for glamour and charm, the spectacle at Dodger Stadium represents a new low, one that gossips and industry watchers alike are unlikely to forget anytime soon.
I wasn't able to follow up with why, but if that's the assumption you're making, I think that feels like a pretty safe one.
You see, that's just an allegation of racism right there. It's not ambiguous.
Kris Jenner's 70th birthday party was supposed to be a glittering, star-studded celebration. Instead, insiders say it became a cautionary tale for Meghan Markle's social missteps. Sources alleged that Meghan, ever the seeker of attention, demanded photos of herself and Harry at the event, only to spiral into panic when the images didn't immediately go viral the way she envisioned.
Accusing a member of the royal family of being racist, judging somebody according to the colour of their skin and how brown they are. There's no room for thinking it's anything else. Now, the impact of that claim was extraordinary. The claims were reported breathlessly.
Rumors began circulating about fake consent forms allegedly drafted to protect the couple from public scrutiny, a claim that sources insist was entirely fabricated. The scene reportedly devolved into a scramble of frantic phone calls, PR damage control, and whispered apologies to the Jenner team. Hollywood insiders reportedly described the couple's behavior as chaotic and tone-deaf. Meghan's forced attempts to integrate herself into a room of genuine A-listers reportedly fell flat, with many observers noting her exaggerated gestures and staged expressions.
According to both of them, this ongoing blatant racism, not only in the UK tabloid press, but in the family.
But for some people in this country, a blanket denial.
Harry, meanwhile, allegedly compounded the issue by appearing disinterested, disheveled, and occasionally awkward, reinforcing the perception of the couple as unpolished outsiders trying far too hard. The juxtaposition of their presence against the effortless charm of established celebrities reportedly made the Sussexes' desperation glaringly obvious.
Enough.
Buckingham Palace is racist.
Because among the more shocking revelations was that it's sort of overt racism she faced within the royal family.
But here it is, a couple that's...
According to insiders, the aftermath of the party left the Kardashian family furious. Sources say that key figures were offended by what they saw as manufactured drama and unnecessary interference in what should have been a milestone celebration. Royal commentators and gossip circles began circulating the story immediately, cementing the narrative that Meghan and Harry bring chaos wherever they go. The scandal reportedly damaged relationships with influential Hollywood figures and made invitations to future events far less likely. For Meghan, the incident has allegedly underscored a recurring pattern. The need for control, validation, and public attention often backfires. The Kardashian catastrophe, as some sources now call it, demonstrates how even elite social settings can become minefields when PR ambitions collide with reality.
The question is their skin tone.
I hope all those people are having severe
For a woman accustomed to commanding attention in royal or celebrity contexts, the public exposure of miscalculations at such a high-profile event represents a humiliating setback and a lesson about how far Hollywood insiders will tolerate calculated theatrics.
Prince Harry said, I don't need to, because that day I said I didn't believe a word of it.
The Sussexes' absence from Dr. Jane Goodall's funeral has been described by royal commentators as both glaring and deeply revealing, despite claims of a close relationship with the legendary conservationist Meghan, and Harry were reportedly nowhere to be seen at the service. In stark contrast, global luminaries including Leonardo DiCaprio, Nancy Pelosi, and Jose Andres attended, honoring Goodall in person and publicly demonstrating genuine respect.
Just about every single member of the royal household has been implicated in the rumours at some point, and that surely isn't fair, is it?
Royal insiders suggest the Sussexes' tribute statement filled with intimate anecdotes about Jane holding Archie and showering the family with affection was pure PR, a carefully constructed narrative designed to amplify their humanitarian image. In reality, sources say their interactions with Goodall were minimal, making the public display of grief appear opportunistic. Social media erupted with criticism, framing the absence as emblematic of the couple's tendency to prioritize optics over authenticity.
I contacted my boss at ITV. I didn't find that out till I left. It was certainly a very interesting revelation.
Meghan and Harry strategically attached themselves to significant figures or events to cultivate prestige. The Goodall absence, insiders say, is now cited in conversations about their credibility or lack thereof. The contrast between their public claims and actual behavior has fueled speculation about their authenticity, painting a picture of a couple whose gestures of grief or admiration are performative rather than genuine.
I've always said that the claims, in my opinion, are completely and utterly baseless. That speculation reached fever pitch again this week because of this Weasley,
the Jane Goodall memorial incident combined with other PR misfires reportedly air distrust and leaves Hollywood and royal insiders questioning the couple's motives. For Meghan, this latest scandal highlights a persistent challenge: managing a public persona that consistently teeters between genuine advocacy and media-savvy self-promotion.
It's Scobie. He's the client journalist of the Sussexes. He's always the first to publish their Soviet-style official statements and defend their indefensible deeds. He's like that guy, Comical Ali. Do you remember him, who fronted up for Saddam?
Sources describe Meghan and Harry's attempts to collaborate with Netflix as disastrous behind the scenes. Reports suggest that Harry arrived late to multiple high-stakes meetings, demanding hot chocolate instead of standard professional refreshments, leaving executives questioning whether they were negotiating with serious business partners or babysitting spoiled royals. Meanwhile, Meghan allegedly alienated seasoned professionals with her controlling and condescending demeanor, treating experienced executives as subordinates rather than collaborators.
The American howitzers were coming over his head. Well, Meghan Markle famously denied briefing Scobie for his last book, Finding Freedom. But then she was forced a few months after it came out to apologize in court and admit that actually she had.
Netflix executives reportedly tolerated the couple's antics initially, but whispers of exasperation grew as meetings continued, with sources claiming that internal memos warned staff about managing the Sussex brand carefully. What should have been productive, high-value collaborations turned into exhausting exercises in damage control, leaving both creative and logistical teams frustrated.
For several members of the royal family,
upper-level
we're very
people?
grateful that. Well, I'm not going to go into who it was, but what I would say is gratitude that somebody was standing up for them.
Taking stock, is there something you would have done differently? Anything you regret?
Hollywood gossip suggests that the meetings exemplify the couple's miscalculation, assuming that fame and titles can substitute for talent and professionalism. According to insiders, Meghan's insistence on controlling narrative and optics, paired with Harry's juvenile antics, has transformed what could have been a career-launching project into a reputation risk. Industry professionals are reportedly advising colleagues to avoid Sussex-led projects, citing unpredictability, stubbornness, and a lack of seriousness as primary concerns.
All the laundry. So when it emerged that the latest book contained new details on those race accusations, well, let's just say I've made my own assumptions about what.
Their behavior has allegedly created a ripple effect impacting their ability to secure future high-profile partnerships. Gossip sources highlight that this public meltdown at Netflix meetings illustrates a wider truth. Celebrity and royal notoriety do not guarantee professional respect, and the Sussex's brand is increasingly viewed as volatile and difficult.
Leaves the other person on the end of that correspondence. That's Meghan Markle, or maybe Harry, her husband, or maybe one of them.
The timing of Harry's Canadian veterans visit, coinciding with Prince William's environmental initiative, sparked a social media storm. Officially, Harry's team cited security concerns to justify the scheduling coincidence, but royal experts quickly dismantled the claim. The explanation appeared flimsy, reinforcing perceptions of calculated attention-seeking and entitlement. Observers speculated that the Sussexes deliberately sought to overshadow William, creating what insiders call a public relations power play that ultimately backfired.
Boasting he has. Scobie says he knew the names of the accused royals, but couldn't use them for legal reasons. That's in the English version.
Sources report that Canadian fans expressed outrage, interpreting the Dodgers' appearance and subsequent announcements as tone-deaf and self-focused. Social media chatter highlighted a disconnect between the couple's stated priorities and their behavior, framing the Sussexes as more concerned with optics than substance. Royal commentators suggest this scandal is emblematic of a pattern. The couple's inability to navigate timing, optics, and etiquette simultaneously undermines credibility and amplifies criticism.
In a Dutch translation of the book. And by appeared, I mean they were sent to journalists who couldn't believe what they were reading. They went into bookstores where people could buy it.
Industry insiders reportedly see this as another demonstration of the Sussexes' strategic miscalculations. The timing controversy, though seemingly minor, exposed vulnerabilities in their public image, allowing critics to frame them as opportunistic rather than principled. Gossip circles have had a field day, emphasizing that attempts at attention management have instead reinforced negative narratives.
They are, as I said last night, King Charles, Prince Charles as he was then, and Catherine, Princess of Wales. I did that for several reasons. First, the speculation was once again raging out of control.
Harry's lectures on digital safety became ironic fodder when Meghan allegedly posted videos exposing their children's faces only to edit them after public scrutiny. Sources suggest that Harry is frustrated with Meghan's content strategy, which appears to prioritize brand visibility over family privacy. Gossip insiders describe a household in tension. Harry advocating for discretion while Meghan leverages their children for social media influence, reflecting marital discord and hypocrisy.
It made no sense that Dutch journalists and Dutch people who bought copies before the publisher withdrew them would know these names, members of our royal family, when the British people were prevented.
Observers argue that these contradictions have further eroded the Sussex brand. Public messaging about privacy is undermined by behavior that appears performative, creating confusion among fans and critics alike. Royal commentators suggest that the couple's conflicting approaches to media management reveal fundamental issues with their strategy. Controlling narrative while maintaining authenticity is proving impossible.
Whatever your view of the monarchy, I don't think any serious person really believes that anything they've seen or heard from King Charles or the Princess of Wales suggests they have even the tiniest racist bone in their body.
If you thought Meghan Markle could walk through life untouched by criticism, think again. After Piers Morgan's devastating interview, the public opinion pendulum seems to have swung completely against her. Social media sentiment, celebrity gossip circles, and even casual fans now paint a picture of a woman whose carefully curated persona has taken a nosedive.
And once again, it's worth remembering what Prince Harry eventually said about these accusations when he was promoting his book. And before we play the clip, just to remind you.
One moment, she's the globe-trotting Duchess, Hollywood's royal darling. The next, she's Princess Pinocchio, a figure of mockery, memes, and viral commentary. The fallout is so severe that gossip columns are practically bursting with Meghan meltdown updates, with insiders whispering that this may be the harshest blow to her image yet.
And again, not in the 6-part Netflix series, which mentioned everything else in their lives, not in the 12-part podcasts for Spotify that Meghan Markle.
Polls and online sentiment analyses reportedly show dramatic declines in her approval ratings. Where Meghan once inspired admiration, there's now skepticism, ridicule, and outright disdain. The Oprah interview, once considered her magnum opus, is being reframed by Morgan's critique and insider whispers as a strategic PR stunt designed more to elevate drama than deliver authentic truth. In the court of public opinion, this revelation has turned the narrative upside down. Fans who once praised her honesty are questioning her credibility, while detractors revel in a newly verified "I told you so" moment.
In Harry's over 400-page book, 150,000 words of stuff.
The collapse is compounded by the couple's inability to manage optics. Their attempts at controlled public appearances now feel calculated, forced, and critics say painfully obvious. From Netflix ventures to social media posts, every move seems scrutinized and overanalyzed, leaving the Sussex brand dangling in a perilous position. Gossip sources suggest that Meghan's public image is now synonymous with controversy, poor judgment, and over-the-top theatrics. Even casual observers can spot the disconnect. A woman trying to reinvent herself while the world seems determined to redefine her in less flattering terms.
The supposed racism by members of his own family, which he had launched.
Insiders hint that this collapse isn't just about one interview. It's the culmination of years of public missteps, calculated leaks, and attempts to craft a narrative that no longer resonates. Royal watchers point out that unlike Diana, Meghan doesn't yet have the public sympathy or tragic narrative to cushion her fall. Instead, she faces a combination of Hollywood skepticism, social media ridicule, and royalist disapproval. A trifecta that makes recovery far more complicated than a simple apology or media tour. Meghan's public image is in crisis mode. Royal circles, gossip columnists, and everyday social media users are watching with popcorn in hand as the Duchess struggles to regain the adoration she once commanded. The Sussex brand now teeters on the line between fascination and mockery. A story of how quickly admiration can morph into disdain when ambition, perception, and timing collide.
About
there was concern about his skin colour.
Right. Wouldn't you describe that as essentially racist?
I wouldn't, not having lived within that family.
God, he's such a dimwit, isn't he? He's just dim as ditch water.
Behind the scenes, gossip suggests the Sussex household is anything but serene. Sources report Meghan pacing her Montecito mansion, reportedly furious and frustrated after Piers Morgan's scathing commentary went viral. Meanwhile, Harry is said to be struggling to manage both public criticism and private tensions, leaving insiders describing the couple as a storm of ambition clashing with reality. From the outside, their lives seem glamorous. But royal insiders whisper that behind closed doors, the tension is palpable. The personal fallout isn't just about bruised egos. It's about ambition colliding with expectation. Meghan's relentless drive for relevance, Hollywood acclaim, and validation reportedly clashes with the practical realities of public opinion and industry respect.
That she was saying that the royal family had been racist. How dumb does he think we are? So Harry performs this dramatic U-turn. We never meant to suggest that.
Montecito, once a symbol of Californian dreaminess and post-royal freedom, is allegedly now a high-stakes pressure cooker. Meghan's reported pacing, phone calls to PR teams, and frantic coordination of appearances are interpreted by insiders as signs of a woman struggling to maintain control in a world that no longer bends to her will. Harry, on the other hand, is reportedly frustrated, caught between supporting his wife and managing the consequences of their public miscalculations. One palace source reportedly whispered that the couple's discord is visible even through the curated Instagram posts, and fans are noticing, too.
British press. They were the ones who said it was racism. We just meant unconscious bias,
You know, the stakes are high because personal fallout is bleeding into professional opportunities. Insiders hint that Hollywood executives and potential collaborators are picking up on the tension, questioning whether working with the Sussexes is worth the chaos.
Evidence of someone being racist, we just think it's kind of unconscious, on the sly, right? It's kind of there, but we can't prove it. It's like we think they might be.
Ultimately, the Sussex household is reportedly a case study in the collision between ambition, media scrutiny, and human emotion. Piers Morgan's takedown may have been public, but its effects are intensely personal. Montecito is no longer just a home. It's a stage for tension, miscalculation, and mounting pressure, leaving Meghan and Harry navigating a labyrinth of public humiliation and private frustration. Royal insiders hint that how they manage these pressures in the coming months could define the trajectory of both their personal and professional lives. Every stage of Meghan Markle's rise was not just lived. It was curated. From the very beginning, her public image unfolded like a perfectly storyboarded film. She wasn't just a Hollywood actress. She was the Hollywood actress who didn't Google Prince Harry. The woman who claimed she stumbled into royalty with wide-eyed innocence rather than calculated curiosity.
Are on a global stage. So why should I stand back and let a proven liar like Omid Scobie, a man who claims in this book as a
She was a modern humanitarian fearless enough to challenge centuries of royal tradition while still insisting she never wanted the spotlight. Every interview, every anecdote, every Netflix frame served the same purpose: to sell a narrative of authenticity, relatability, and effortless destiny. But the problem with a perfectly edited story is that it only works as long as nobody looks too closely at the raw footage.
58-year life, zero. Not once. It's not just not regular.
Once people began peeling back the layers, the cracks became harder to ignore. Dates shifted. Timelines blurred. Ages stopped lining up neatly. And suddenly, that carefully polished image started to feel less like truth and more like branding. In Hollywood, this isn't unusual. Age manipulation is practically an industry standard. Actresses shave years off resumes. Studios quietly adjust biographies.
Since you left the show, were you disappointed that not enough people reached out?
And publicists smooth rough edges all the time. Youth sells. Opportunity follows it. Survival often depends on it. But Meghan's story didn't stop in Hollywood. It crossed into royal history. And once that happens, the stakes change dramatically. When your life becomes part of the monarchy's official record, every number matters. Every date becomes permanent. Every discrepancy turns into a headline waiting to explode. You're no longer just managing an image. You're rewriting chapters of documented history.
Never had a phone chat. So he's a liar. And he lied again about when apparently I called Meghan Markle.
That's where Tom Bower's work lands like a wrecking ball. He didn't simply highlight an age discrepancy. He exposed how thoroughly Meghan's life appeared to be edited for public consumption, not rewritten once, but refined repeatedly, polished until it gleamed. And behind that shine, there's an uncomfortable possibility that the story we were sold was less about truth and more about control over perception, control over narrative, control over who Meghan Markle needed to be at each stage of her climb. Because perfection doesn't happen accidentally. It's assembled. And once the assembly starts to unravel, the question becomes unavoidable. What else was adjusted to make the picture look just right?
To thank me on behalf of the firm. No, she didn't. Another lie. Complete lie. So Scobie prepared to lie about me about these little things, which don't really amount to a row of beans. Why should we believe?
When Tom Bower's revelations resurfaced, the reaction behind palace-adjacent walls was reportedly anything but calm. According to royal insiders, Meghan was not merely annoyed. She was furious and shaken. This wasn't the kind of gossip that could be brushed aside with a glossy interview or drowned out by a well-timed charity announcement. This was archival, documented, old enough to predate her royal life entirely. And worse still, it reopened questions she likely believed were safely buried. Sources described tears behind closed doors, frantic conversations, and growing frustration over what insiders called old lies resurfacing at the worst possible time. Because timing matters. And this came when Meghan's public image was already under pressure, stalled projects, dwindling goodwill, and a public that seemed less willing to accept carefully packaged explanations at face value. What followed wasn't outrage or denial. It was silence. And silence in this case spoke volumes.
The royal family through the mud all over again, reigniting these racism charges because he wants to sell books and make money.
Because silence doesn't stop curiosity, it feeds it. The internet never forgets and archives never lie. Reporters, researchers, and amateur sleuths immediately went to work pulling old interviews, cross-referencing graduation dates, tracking early acting credits, and comparing Meghan's own past statements against public records. Each comparison produced more questions than answers. Each unanswered question added another crack to the facade.
He again denied working with Meghan Markle, and he also denied ever using the names in any draft of his book.
I'm as frustrated as everyone else.
What began as a single magazine listing quickly evolved into something much larger. A debate about authenticity, about whether the Meghan Markle presented to the world today is truly the same woman documented in those old archives, or whether somewhere along the way the story was adjusted to better fit ambition, optics, and opportunity. And here's the harsh reality of public opinion. Certainty is comforting, but mystery is magnetic. When details don't add up and no one explains why, people assume there's something to hide. Not necessarily something sinister, but something inconvenient, something that doesn't fit the narrative.
Very careful in how it's described in the book, and it's why I've never spoken about it beyond what I've said in the public domain before. The reality is, though, is that
in the end, it's not the accusation that damages reputations. It's the unanswered question. And right now, that question is hanging in the air louder than any denial ever could be. And here we are, the grand finale. After Piers Morgan's ruthless critique, Hollywood snubs, social media misfires, and royal miscalculations, the Sussex narrative is unraveling faster than a poorly stitched tiara. Meghan Markle, once positioned as the ultimate modern princess, bridging Hollywood glitz and royal prestige, now finds herself walking a tightrope over public scrutiny, professional skepticism, and personal pressure.
A barefaced liar. He wants us to believe that he only submitted a draft in the English version, which never mentioned the names, but that somebody...
The combination of events has created a perfect storm. Public opinion is fractured. Hollywood insiders reportedly roll their eyes at her projects. Social media amplifies every misstep. And palace whispers suggest that her credibility is on thin ice. Even the most loyal supporters are reportedly questioning whether Meghan's comeback strategies are strategic brilliance or overreaching desperation. The Sussex brand, once a glittering symbol of aspiration, now teeters on irrelevance. with every new appearance scrutinized and every decision dissected for missteps. Sources claim that the couple's carefully curated PR image is in tatters. From Montecito meltdowns to Dodgers game disasters, from social media hypocrisy to faux intimate tributes, every move contributes to the narrative. Meghan's ambitions are high, her execution flawed, and her audience increasingly skeptical. Even Harry's presence, intended as a stabilizing counterpoint, reportedly contributes to the chaos. His own behavior and choices reflecting a couple out of sync with reality.
And added the names, an added entire paragraph in one part of this into the manuscript.
Bauer's damning assessment. Hollywood's cold shoulder and public scrutiny combine into a cautionary tale. Meghan's trajectory mirrors Ferguson's decline: high ambition, scattered projects, occasional brilliance, and ultimately public fascination giving way to fatigue and critique. Royal insiders suggest that this is a pivotal moment. The Sussexes may need to reinvent, retreat, or risk becoming permanent footnotes in celebrity and royal history. The tale of Meghan Markle isn't just about celebrity. It's a live unfolding study in perception, miscalculation, and ambition gone spectacularly off-script. Royalists, Hollywood insiders, and gossip enthusiasts alike are glued to the saga, wondering, can the Sussexes recover, or is this the moment their carefully constructed narrative truly unravels? Either way, it's must-watch drama, and the world can't look away.